Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Welcome aboard and happy Thanksgiving. Here we are, Thanksgiving Eve.
Yes, very excited about Thanksgiving tomorrow. Looks like it was a very rainy day the past couple days, but I think it's going to be kind of nice.
And we have lots to be thankful for, including, have we finally had enough? Is the country waking up?
We shall see. I do think that stuff coming out of Fulton County is very promising.
Mhm.
Here's the thing that I don't think they expected, Bill, that when they put Trump on trial,
Yeah.
he was also going to use discovery to make sure that he was able to access some of the information about a lot of the stuff that happened in the 2020 election here in Georgia.
Be careful what you pray for.
Yes, and Trump released an interesting video last night about how many ballots they've admitted to now in Fulton County that were duplicated.
This is very interesting. Fulton County, Georgia acknowledges in a major consent decree that 3,600 individual ballots were duplicated. 36 batches of them were duplicated. That's a lot of crime. 3,600 votes. That's really a lot of crime. When are the rest of these facts coming out? We're all waiting. This is the beginning of an unbelievable period of time. This is massive voter corruption.
Yeah, and I will say Georgia has made an attempt to fix these problems with a bill they passed, SB 202. They did not go far enough. I think there's still a lot of loopholes, a lot of reading into the law, if you will, as to what's required, which I think is a problem. So legislative session in 2024, very important for Georgia. They need to tighten up the election here. I'm really hoping to see that. Really hoping to see their agenda also for starting in January. So I'll be on the lookout for that. But, lot of work to do here in Georgia still, Bill.
Yeah, there still is. But remember, we've had guests on who have done research on this and have filed official judiciary proceedings and showing that these ballots were duplicated, proving that this was not regular ballpoint ink or anything of that nature that was actually toner that were on these ballots. So it had to
happen, Bill? It's
I can't imagine.
So
because I just can't imagine why all of a sudden a major voting facility in Fulton County got flooded one day, and it turns out it didn't. How one of the counties right up above Fulton had their HVAC machines go out, the air conditioning systems go out, and it was like 12 degrees when this woman comes to work the next morning, and those machines are temperature sensitive. It turns out somebody had turned off the gas.
Well, and there was issues here in Chatham.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, and we don't talk that much about it in Chatham, and I will say our Board of Elections is not open to hearing it. They think that we have the most secure elections, not only in Georgia, but here in Chatham, which I would say there's not issues at every precinct, but there are definitely targeted precincts where they feel like they can get away with some stuff. So
when you hear everybody saying that the same thing, because the Democrats have their talking points, and you can turn from channel to channel and hear the same exact rhetoric.
Well, Morning Joe yesterday.
Yeah, morning joke. But yeah, that they are losing their minds over the fact that the more that they are persecuting the president, that the better his numbers are getting. This is from BSDNC.
You're going to look like idiots because he will get away with, he will imprison, he will execute whoever he's allowed to imprison, execute, drive from the country. Just look at his past.
Yeah, none of that stuff happened under Trump, so very interesting.
Look at his past. We have. He hasn't killed anybody. He didn't have anybody arrested. He could have had Hillary Clinton arrested. She could have gone through what he's going through for real, with real evidence. Nothing had to be fabricated with that witch. But and of course you notice that they're talking to the left Reverend Al Charlatan. He's a reverend. I'm a left-handed Chinese bicycle pump. But he is who came to. I wonder if he had Tawana Brawley. I wonder if Tawana Brawley is going to get a show on BSDNC.
Probably.
But they're paying this lying racist millions of dollars to sit there and look like an idiot. But as he said one time, but push back we much.
Well, and Lizzie Warren says that's just one county too.
Mm-hmm.
And Christina Benjamin's with us this morning. She says Chatham County is having a Board of Elections meeting today. It's actually not a Board of Elections meeting. It is a Board of Registrars meeting because here in Chatham County, we have to be different, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
So our Board of Elections and our Board of Registrars is separated. They do have a meeting today at noon. You can join it in person at the Eisenhower office, or you can dial in. So you do need WebEx. That's been a big issue because I don't know, different software. Sometimes it's harder to get in. So thank you, Christina Benjamin, for reminding me of that. And then, which is odd, I'm surprised they're having it today because it is Thanksgiving week.
Why would you have it today?
Well,
everybody's in holiday mode, on days like this.
They're on a schedule, but I'm like, usually when it's around a holiday, they'll change it. So very interesting. Lizzie Warren says, but Biden is going after his political opponents. I think that's the thing. Accuse your opponent of what you're doing.
Exactly.
They are very, very good at that. And we are very bad at that and very bad at standing up for ourselves.
But it was like when he was sitting there saying, that he's going to have these people arrested. He's going to be having, the Justice Department do this, that, and the other. Said, you mean like what Biden's doing?
Well, and here's the thing. Some of these people should be arrested. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyone that was on the January 6th committee, there needs to be something that happens to those people.
How many lives have been ruined?
Destroyed.
Because of destroyed. In fact, some of the, two of the people, I think, committed suicide.
4.
Yeah, 4 people committed suicide because of what was going on there. The blood is on their hands. Liz Cheney and Alec, the Republican backstabber.
Kissinger or something,
right, him.
Yeah, he's terrible. Not Republicans, in my opinion, but Steve Stanton Jr. says, if I was a Democrat, God forbid, I wouldn't want you looking into the voting integrity.
Yeah.
No, it seems to really work in their favor for some reason, but prior to 2020, you had Kamala Harris, you had all of these prominent Democrats saying the voting machines are not good. We just had Virginia showing vote flipping while the election was happening, and they still announced a winner that night. How is that possible?
It's amazing. It's good to be a Democrat, isn't it?
It must be, but in the city of Charleston, it is good to be a Republican this morning.
It is.
They just elected their first Republican since...
Republican mayor.
Yes, Republican mayor since 1877.
That's just after the Civil War.
This is awesome, Bill.
Yeah.
I love to win.
Yeah.
Are you sick of winning? Isn't that what Trump said? You're going to be so sick of winning.
You're sick of winning. Yeah. Listen, we had some pretty significant victories a couple of weeks back, even though we were lamenting the fact that Virginia had to flip their congressional seats.
Which is where the vote flipping was happening. So it's very interesting that
really
happened
is.
when they just elected a Republican governor. Explain that to me, Bill.
Okay.
Just really interesting. I just think that we should be able to do random audits. I think that should be a requirement of our voting, whatever case may be. I think that we should have to audit a certain percentage of our precincts. And honestly, Argentina went to paper. And guess what? They counted all their votes in one night. And there was a anti-communist, anti-socialist guy that was elected. Imagine that.
And once again, the left here is just losing its mind over the fact that this guy got elected. Saying he was, Trump-like and that sort of thing. And he's told Donald Trump, not only keep doing what you're doing, but double down.
Yes. Well, so there's a comedian. His name is Matt Rife. He's a little bit on the risque side, but he actually he had a Netflix special that was released. People are criticizing a joke that he may have made about domestic violence, and so he's like, here he posted online. He's like, here is my apology. When you clicked it, it actually went to like safety helmets for so he basically doubled down and was like, you're not gonna change the way that I do my comedy show. It's supposed to be funny. We're allowed to laugh at things, and I think we need more of this.
Oh yeah, satire and comedy are hand in hand, and they really ridicule the truth. Well, they say that many a truth has been spoken through a smiling face. So Just get used to it. It's one of the reasons, by the way, that people like Jerry Seinfeld and Jay Leno and all have said they quit doing college tours.
Yep, it's not
Because the
fun.
kids, because
It's
the
not fun.
kids
They have no
either
sense
don't
of humor.
understand the jokes because they're too stupid, or they are offended by something. Well, I'm sorry if you're offended. There's nothing in the Constitution that prevents you from being offended.
Yeah, there's nothing that cites that, is there?
No.
And Christina Benjamin posted Matthew Penna 36, Christopher Staten Georgia from Georgia 53, Mark Onkst, and sorry, these names, Jord Meekum 22. They were the 4 J6 defendants that sadly took their own lives. And Lizzie Warren said exculpatory evidence was withheld from the J6 defendants. That's the most disgusting thing as well. And where were the judges on this? Saying, we have footage. Where is it?
Mm-hmm. And now the Republicans, this was something that Jesse Kelly, talk show host, railed about on Monday night. He said, this is the difference between Democrats celebrating victory and Republicans celebrating victory. He said, all of a sudden we've released this, that Mike Johnson, our new Speaker of the House, has released this footage from January the 6th. And he said, and we're celebrating. He said, 3 years later, and we're celebrating. He says, like being behind 60-0 with 3 minutes to go in the football game, and you kick a field goal, and you say, "Woohoo! Ha! We're winning." No. This footage should have been released 3 years ago, and that January 6th committee should have been besmirched.
And at the very least, it should have been released the second Kevin McCarthy got put in office.
Exactly.
And it wasn't. And it just also shows that you cannot trust these people. We have to hold them accountable. If they do not do what they say they're going to do, they need to be voted out. Mm-hmm. And then Steve Staten, of course, says, that's fantastic. Way to go, Charleston, one of my many hometowns.
Mm-hmm. Mine too.
Yes, so very exciting stuff. I think that we talk a lot about, there are so many egregious things happening, and I think that we focus on that, but there are these like cultural wins that we are having, and I think we need to talk a lot about that as well, because it gets frustrating when you're fighting these battles.
Yeah, sure does. All right, coming up next, we have started a series on Meet the Chiefs, and we've already met Garden City Police Chief Gil Ballard. Coming up next, Chatham County Police Chief Jeff Hadley on deck. Happy Thanksgiving. Stay real. Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
I'm Brittany Brown.
I'm Bill Edwards.
We're the co-hosts of Get Real America.
We're the CEO and the president of something we call the Local Spin, and there's a reason we call it the Local Spin.
We want to cover stories that really impact your life at the local level. Don't have a local business? No problem. If you know people that have a local business, make sure you reach out to them and let them know that they should advertise on our show.
Our rates are extremely reasonable, a lot better than you find in most of the media in this town, and you will get results. I promise. You will be investing in something that's important.
If you don't have the ability to donate, make sure you like our page and share it with your friends. Have you always wanted to own a local media company? Well, now's your opportunity.
Here we are.
Make sure you become an investor today. Make sure that you go to thelocalspin.com/GRA and donate there. We want to provide an evening and morning news to you in a way that you've never seen before, but we need your help.
Yeah, this is something that what NPR said that they were supposed to be. NPR gets something in the range of $450 million of your tax money every year to slant the news the way they want to and to not cover stories that they need to be covering.
You need local media. Make sure to check us out and donate today.
And a continuing effort to meet the chiefs around Garden City and Savannah and whole Chatham County, the Chatham County Police Chief, Jeff Hadley. Jeff, what's the state of policing these days in the county? What can you tell us about how things are going?
Well, I think they're going pretty good, Bill. We do struggle with hiring and recruiting, just like many of the other agencies here in Chatham County. Our crime overall is down from last year. I mean, a couple categories bump up from time to time, but we got a good group of young officers. They're working hard and trying to learn the job, and we have a pretty young workforce. By way of experience. So just trying to get them to where they need to be to eventually, carry this organization long after my time.
Well, you're still a young force when you want to talk about age of policing. And a lot of people I think you're an envy from your colleagues, the fact that you get a chance to build a force from the ground up when you came here.
We did. In February 1st will be our 6-year anniversary, so to speak, when we started policing or re-policing the unincorporated parts of Chatham County. So it seems like a long time, but in terms of a police department, it's really not that long. We've had some turnover, some people come and go, for a variety of reasons. We're also going to have people retire out. Many of the experienced folks that we hired when we started the department 6 years ago, are going to age out. They're on their second career. They're getting close to retirement age, for good. And so we got to, be cognizant of, preparing our young supervisors to, kind of carry the organization forward. But by and large, it's going really well. We have a very supportive board of county commissioners and Chairman Ellis. Michael Kadler, the new county manager, is fantastic. We work really well with Sheriff Wiltshire and his crew over there. So I really have no complaints. I think the public should find comfort in, the current officers that we have work hard and go out and do a great job. We really have very few complaints on our officers, not never, I wouldn't say that, but they really go out and do a good job and treat people well, and that's a good thing.
Well, you came in on a real short fuse too. I mean, you had to put things together in a hurry.
We did. I got here December 6th of 17, and we had to start February 1st of 2018. And,
Well, welcome to Savannah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh my goodness, how are we going to do this? But, I've always said Sheriff Wiltshire really stepped up and provided some crucial staffing that we did not have on the front end, so we could go out and I call it, we co-policed the county for about 6 months until September of 18, until we could get enough officers hired to be able to kind of go and do it on our own. And, I just can't thank him enough for that.
Well, I think one of the other things too, that did it help because there's always that animosity when there was a merger of the police departments, who's going to do what, who's the boss, that type of thing. Did it help that you had former county officers who decided to come back to you that had that experience?
It did. It helped in a couple ways. One, we had some staffing, so
Yeah.
I think it was about 22. I want to say they always were county employees because they stayed on county benefits and whatnot, even though they worked for Savannah Chatham Metro. So they were very helpful in a number of ways. Number one, that they wanted to see the county police department back, and number two, just trying to navigate, how we used to operate, and then how do we kind of change that going forward to kind of update it and make it 21st century. From the kind of shifts that we worked in terms of 8-hour, 10-hour, 12-hour. When did we rotate shifts? 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. Getting into the old policies, kind of the procedures that they used to operate under, and then what do we need to do going forward. So, they really were somewhat the architects of the new police department, because I really relied on them. I didn't know anything, quite frankly. I came from Michigan. What did I know about Chatham County Police Department? I know policing.
Yeah,
I know,
sure.
but as far as kind of getting down into the weeds, I didn't have that knowledge. But we relied on them pretty heavily to get the ball rolling, and they did fantastic.
What are your concerns right now? What's some of the things that concerns your department the most, of what you're looking at is?
Really hiring and retention. Trying to get us up to a staffing level to where we can be more proactive, and we can also populate some of our specialty units that we're unable to populate right now. We have the funding for a traffic unit and for a special investigations unit, that we cannot put people in because we need patrol officers. So that concerns me in that, we're kind of in a reactive type mode just because we don't have the staffing. And so that's our first and foremost priority. Again, the county's been good in terms of looking at compensation and comparables and giving us raises and trying to compete in the marketplace for officers. I mean, we're all fishing from the same pond, and we all got pretty much the same lure. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
One might be a little bit different,
Yeah.
one might be a little bit different, but by and large, it's pretty much the same. And so, how do we compete in that marketplace and get officers, here to work for Chatham County? And that's a challenge.
Do you find it easier here because we're a much more pro-police or community than a lot of places?
I think it's very helpful, but some officers haven't been at another place that where they kind of where it's much more a lot more tension and a lot more community pressure. Until you've lived that life, you can't appreciate it here. But I can tell you that the community here in Savannah and Chatham County, I don't care what race they are, what age they are, by and large, they're supportive of the police. They're genuine. They come up and thank us for our service, and that might be a byproduct to some extent of the military presence here in the area that has been here for well over 100 years. So. But I really enjoy Savannah, and I tell my officers, you take you appreciate that support from them because not every police officer gets that across this country.
Were you able to maybe even get some people from, Ron DeSantis was offering these big bonuses for guys coming out of New York or Chicago that were being defunded. Did you have did you get anybody from
We
any
did
of those
not. We've had some people come from out of state and whatnot, but not, in droves or large numbers. I'm not sure how many, Florida got. I didn't really pay attention to that, but, my experience with some of that, just in terms of that sometimes those people don't always stay. It sounds great on the front end, but then when you get here, it's like, oh, you're leaving their home. I mean, there's all a variety of factors, but, we're going to focus on, continuing to be competitive in the marketplace, and the county manager is committed to that. And, we'll work in unison with the sheriff because, I always say we're Siamese twins, man. We're kind of connected, county police, county sheriff's office, but that's okay. I'm good with that. So, but we have good young officers who are learning and they're growing, and I'm really excited for them in their careers, and hopefully we can keep them steered in the right direction.
What's the biggest crime problem that you guys face?
Probably entering autos, people leaving their cars unlocked by and large. I mean, rarely do we have a window broken, not never, but it's pretty rare. And then leaving firearms or high ticket items. I mean, we've had $20,000 in cash stolen out of a car. We've had AR-15s and weapons and other weapons, handguns, jewelry, things of that nature. I just think people get comfortable. I don't think it's, they're being, irresponsible. I mean, some people might put it that way, but, especially in relation to the guns, I think, especially if you carry one all the time and you leave it in your car, kind of becomes just part of the car, like like your vehicle registration and, some breath mints in my gun, right? It's in my my glove box, but, just trying to pay attention that is a weapon, and people will steal it, and they do. Anywhere from 70 to 90 a year just in unincorporated. I think Savannah's 200 plus. You get all the other jurisdictions. We might have 400 or 500 weapons stolen out of this county just from cars. Then there's burglaries and there's other ways that people get weapons, but that's kind of the way it is.
Well, we have a major port here. I mean, you were asked about human trafficking and things of that nature. Do you run into any problems along those lines?
We do from time to time. I wouldn't say it's a huge problem for unincorporated. Now, I can't speak for any of the other jurisdictions or the city of Savannah. We have great relations with the GBI and the FBI, and they can provide resources for us to investigate some of those instances.
What would you say to people that might want to come into law enforcement? You got parents thinking about the kids graduating from college, wondering what they're going to do, or guys coming out of the military here, and I think you get a lot of military recruiters.
We do. We have probably 40% plus of our officers are former military in one way, shape, form, or fashion. I think it's a kind of a natural transition out of the military into law enforcement. For some, not all, but for some. What I would tell parents or young adults it's been a great profession for me. It's honorable. You get intrinsic value out of it. It's a career. It's not a job. If you're looking to just show up and punch a clock and collect a paycheck and go home, this isn't the career for you. You are exposed to too much. You're required. Much is required of you by way of your abilities and temperament and how you handle stuff. And but if you meet those expectations, I think there's a big reward for that, by way of people's appreciation for you and how you feel about yourself and the job that you do for the community. So I have 2 children that are police officers, so I never encourage them and I never discourage them from doing the job. That's what they chose to do. But what I did tell them is do it for the right reasons, and I think they have. They're doing well.
Where are they serving now?
One's here in Chatham County, not for me, and then one, my daughter's up in Michigan.
Cool. Well, Jeff, thank you for what you do. Thanks for this department. I think you've done a great job and growing a great department here, and we're proud of what you're doing for us, and thank you for your service.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Chief Jeff Hadley, such a good guy. And like I said, he was the envy of a lot of his colleagues because he came down here, had to start a department from scratch. Of course, he only had about a month to do it, but came from Kalamazoo, Michigan, and he became a police officer. One of the things that drew him to law enforcement was he was befriended by a cop when his family lived in Florida, and I think the guy gave him a ride home from school one day or something, and he'd been having a bad day, and the cop kind of assuaged his fears and his sadness, and that impressed him, and he said, maybe I could do that. And he's done a great job here putting those. So coming up on February 1st will be their 6th anniversary. Can't believe it's been that long, but they put together a great department and still looking for people. As is Sheriff Johnny Wiltshire, he mentioned him. They're about 200 and something deputies short.
Yes.
We still, I think, the Savannah Police Department the same way, and we start at a pretty good salary. Johnny always says, we get you start at $42,000 and all the overtime you want. So please check it out, and God bless all of our law enforcement because they're going to be on duty tomorrow.
Yep, they don't get a lot of days off, and they work pretty strenuous hours most of the time.
365, 7 days that we have.
And Steve Stanton says, and he had little cooperation from the city.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but he had a lot of cooperation from the sheriff's department.
Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me. I feel like Sheriff Wiltshire is a very good collaborator in a lot of ways.
He is by all means.
Yes.
So coming up next, one of the great organizations is the Ronald McDonald House. We have one here for the Coastal Empire. It's on the campus at Memorial Health, and they're looking to expand. But they're also, but we're going to give you a little behind the scenes thing of what Ronald McDonald House does. And also coming up next month, they're going to be doing something that I started on my radio show a few years back called Shop with a Cop. And this community is so generous in donating for that purpose, where we take families who have been staying at the Ronald McDonald House or have stayed, and all of their money goes to trying to keep their kid alive.
He didn't have anybody
and
arrested.
they don't have any
They don't have
any money for buying Christmas presents until now. We have Shop with a Cop. We'll talk all about it with Bill Soracek, the executive director and CEO of the Ronald McDonald House of the Coastal Empire, coming up.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit. our good friend Billy Sarachek. He is the executive director here of the Ronald McDonald House in the Coastal Empire. And Billy, here we are getting ready for the holiday season.
We are. It's a most wonderful time of the year, right?
It is. And I think that this is a real blessing. The Ronald McDonald House has been a real blessing, not only in this season, but 365.
Well, it's been, 37 years we're coming up on serving this community.
Wow.
And not missing a beat, whether it was, regular Tuesday or Christmas Day, we're open. We didn't lose a single day during COVID. And, we have to do what we have to do because everybody staying at this house is faced with the crisis of knowing that they might be losing their child. So we have to be on point and we have to have a good year.
And this, when holiday season comes, my mom always used to lament the fact that kids might be hurt or their accidents happen during Christmas, or there'd be something bad that you remember Christmas about. So it's never been a happy time for the families. And you try to do what you can to assuage that.
Well, you do. I mean, you're trying to give families some sense of normalcy in a time of chaos and being scared and worried and not knowing what's going to happen next. And for a lot of the families, we get to this point of the year, and we're talking about families that have left us, have got to go home. But think about when they go home, they've been here 2, 4, 8, 12 weeks, and it goes even higher. And the cost of trying to have a child in the hospital system these days, I mean, I can't even imagine what that looks like, even if you have decent insurance. So now, you come up on the holidays and gosh knows what you're facing, whether it's you don't know if your child's going to continue to make it, beyond the holidays. You don't know where that next meal might come from. You might not know how you're paying those bills. And you're trying to be a good parent. And what does that mean in the holidays? You're trying to at least give your family something. And these families won't be able to do that. And then we get to do this amazing thing with Shop with a Cop, and 10 families are able to be treated to a Christmas that they would never be able to have.
And Billy, what was so refreshing to me was when we started this was even though we were in COVID and had hard times and inflation was going on and everything else, the generosity from the people didn't stop. The money just kept pouring in to help these families.
Well, that's what's, Savannah is very philanthropic. We're very blessed with that. I think what's amazing in the families, it doesn't escape them that these people out there in the world, when we're always hearing negative stories, this is the opposite, right? This is families just donating to help somebody have a special Christmas. I mean, we've gotten through this so many years, even pre-COVID, right? That we've been able to provide what families will come back today and still tell us has been by far the best holiday they've ever been able to have because of the generosity of this community. And you're right, nobody misses a beat. They listen to the stories, they hear what's going on. It's helpful that you have an organization, in us with Ronald McDonald House that is very transparent, very clear. We're not asking for something just to ask for something. There's a need there, and I think that helps too. But every year we come to this part. It's one of my favorite times of the year, being able to, get in front of 10 families that have no idea what's about to happen to them, who are struggling, who are worried about day-to-day stuff, worried about trying to do the things that we all want to do as a parent, right? Be there for our kids, make them be well, be able to provide for them, even, have the holiday, and then we get to surprise them and say, hey, look, we're going to pair you up with these amazing officers. We're going to do a drive from here at the Ronald McDonald House to our great partners at Target. You're going to pair up with an officer, and we're going to be giving you X amount of dollars, and you're going to be able to have Christmas this year. And watching their faces, tears and happiness and all these emotions, it's a nice reminder the world's still really good.
Not only that, the police seem to get it's wondered who's happier, the kids or the cops.
I think it's the officers. I mean, watching them, letting the kids get in the cars and just the simple stuff, not even the Christmas thing, but watching the officers, trying to drag the carriages through the stores and help. Because when was the last time you see a 6'4", big guy trying to be like, well, I think the pink little dress is so much going to be better for your little girl than and it's again yet another reminder in this day and age about how everybody's just human. It's not an officer. It's the men and women that happen to be doing that for their job, but they're just good people. They're people that are a part of this community, a part of our family here at RMHC. I mean, they fight over who gets to come to do that. We've had to turn officers away. And that's just again a nice reminder that there are really good people out in the world, and we don't hear those stories enough. And this is that story. This is that story that says, you know what? Donate. I don't care if it's a $10 Target gift card or a $500 check. It's going to go to a family that really needs it. And we're not talking about them going out and splurging. They're getting things that they need. They need things for their child, whether it's diapers to clothing. I mean, they still get to get a gift or two, but I mean, this is well beyond the scope of just Christmas. This isn't waking up to 70 presents under the tree where someone doesn't appreciate all of them. This is one of those things where on Christmas morning, those families wake up and everyone in that household is amazed and grateful and completely ecstatic and happy for what's going on December 25th.
And Billy, I think one of the things that we often forget is that these families have, sometimes these kids that are sick have siblings who are healthy. And sometimes they kind of feel neglected if they're not going to be able to get presents because we're trying to keep brother or sister alive, and they almost feel like that it might even be a resentment there.
Well, I don't know about the resentment part, but I think there's a confusion.
Yeah.
We've been focused on our brother or sister, and maybe we don't even understand what's going on, and you feel like you're forgotten. I don't know that it's a lost moment. But you're right. It's the opportunity for, again, it goes back to the entire family dynamic. Even as simple as mom and dad being we get one small little item to give each other. They may not have been able to do that for a long time, well beyond even these days, because we're talking about families that that are in need. And I think that all of it coming together, watching mom and dad or a grandparent who's involved as a healthcare, because it's not always parents, it's who's providing care for these children, and being able to see them have that normalcy, have that ability just to walk through the aisles and say, I'm just going to be able to get this. We're going to have, we're gonna also go, because it's Target, right? You also have food. You got people going in there saying, what are we going to do? What are things we can have to put on the table to have just that moment of normalcy, because we haven't had it. Let's not kid ourselves. We're 176 steps from the doors of the hospital system here. 176 steps where these families, when they were in this house, were that phone call away from being told they lost their child. That's a lot of stress. That's a lot of pressure. Having that constant for weeks and days at end, how nice is it to, for one moment, even if it's only a couple of hours, to be able to sit back and just say, this is normal. We're just going to enjoy this because of this community, because of all the partners. It started with Bill Edwards and me, you and me, right? We started it because you had a vision, and we sat down and said, how do we do this? How do we promote this? And look how it's grown. We haven't missed a beat. We still did it during COVID. We still got those donations. We still remembered that life has to go on. And when it can be celebrated, and when it can't be, at least acknowledged that we're going through it.
And the Ronald McDonald House is such a blessing. I don't think McDonald's these days promotes it enough.
The problem with that, I feel bad. It's not that McDonald's doesn't want to promote it. It's
Right.
that it's the world. McDonald's promotes things, and then the world says, well, you're hiding behind the charity. And that's awful. If it wasn't for McDonald's, we don't exist. If it wasn't for the partnership with the Philadelphia Eagles football team, along with Dr. Audrey Evans from Children's Hospital in Philadelphia, to Ray Kroc and the team, we don't exist. You realize that Ronald McDonald House Charities will be 50 years old next year?
Wow.
It will be 37 in this community. So think about the numbers, the sheer volumes of it. So McDonald's, we are very blessed. Our McDonald's, our owner operators, we have 8 owner operators. We have 60 stores that are what we call our stores. They're the ones that do it. They go into their own pockets. It's no one corporation can support 386 houses. I mean, we're $1 million program with 13 beds and family rooms and hospitality cart and camera rooms. In Cincinnati, they just became the largest Ronald McDonald House with like 276 bedrooms. So imagine the magnitude of trying to do that. But now you got these owner operators. Those 8 individuals here in Savannah and in the Statesboro, as far down towards Florida, all of South Carolina, the Low Country, Hilton Head, Beaufort, Bluffton, 60 stores that these guys go in and day out and are doing things for all these families. They give a penny from every Happy Meal sold. Everybody kind of laughs when you say that out loud, but what's a penny for 60 stores in 1 year? I'm going to tell you, that's $50,000 that comes to us. That's $50,000 out of these men and women's pockets, because it's their business. They do a penny a pound, which means every pound of French fries they sell, a penny comes out of it, goes to the house. That's almost $200,000 over the last couple of years that we've been able to do that. They do holding hands. They do, we have the canisters, which of course change is going away, and we're a cashless society. So now guess what? You can round up. You can go to any McDonald's any given time. Most it will ever cost you out of pocket is 99 cents. And 100% of all the monies we're talking about from McDonald's, all the monies that they donate, all the monies that come in from the community again, stays here. Not one single penny leaves. We are not sending money out. We're not doing research. We're taking care of those in this community that need it the most. How do you get any better than that as an organization? How do you not tout McDonald's as providing the most amazing? I mean, tell me another one that's doing something like that. I can't think of any. I hear of some other foundations for other fast food restaurants. Nothing touches what the Ronald McDonald House does. Nothing touches what the partnership between McDonald's, Coca-Cola, of course, is our second biggest partner, and us. I mean, Coca-Cola here in this community does so much for the whole community. They do so much for our families. They do so much for our events. They do so much to allow us to provide the services we provide. I don't know how you don't look at that, and you don't need to be reminded about it. And that's the other side of it. They don't need to do that. They're not going to stand up and say, look at me, because they're doing it for the right reason. They're doing it. They embrace it when other factions in this community in the same industry will step up and provide food for our families, because it's always about the kids and it's always about the families. McDonald's has never lost sight of that, and they just don't get credit for that.
Billy, and of course you're in the process of expanding, are you not? You need some.
We're quietly moving in that direction. We're turning away 16 families a day.
Wow.
Because and that's what we know of, because once you obviously hit a certain mark, you're going to stop having people try to stay with you, because they know they're not going to get in during that time. So the need is very much there. We're very fortunate. I have an incredible medical community, here with Children's Hospital at Memorial, and our NICU unit with 100 beds, plus St. Joseph Candler and St. Joseph's mental health care facilities. Anybody that we're serving that's critical. So the need's there. So we're looking at going down that road to more than almost triple our size, because if we had it today, it would be full.
Outstanding. Billy, thanks for everything that you do, and for the great fundraisers and all the people that help out, because this community, I think, really appreciates it, and maybe don't even, some kind of sub rosa, they don't realize just how important this is.
Well, we appreciate the community, and they do. I've always said, one of the nice things, you can look at things different ways. You and I have always had these conversations. When someone comes up to me and says, I don't really know what you do, that's a good thing, because that probably means you never had a sick child. You probably never had the need for your family to have to be here or be rushed to the hospital. And we can teach you what we do so that when it happens. What I always find interesting as of late is if I walk into a room and I'll just ask a couple simple questions. If you have a child from newborn age to 22 years of age, raise your hand and keep it up. If you're a grandparent, has a grandchild in that range, raise your hand. How about, or if you have a niece or nephew, it pretty much in any room we walk into, 98% of that room will raise their hand, which means that every time We walk into a room, 98% of that room could use our services the next day because something could happen to them. Knowing that that can happen and knowing that this community has this kind of facility and network to work with, I think is a blessing for the community because we know it's a blessing for us having the community. So we're very grateful.
Thank you, sir. God
Thank you.
bless. Merry Christmas.
Same to you and yours.
Thanks.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
The Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934 with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Happy Thanksgiving as we get ready to go into the real full holiday season. And Friday after tomorrow, it's okay to put up your Christmas tree.
Yes, it's also okay not to go out in the craziness tomorrow during Thanksgiving, but have some fun on Black Friday, but don't get out in the craziness. Enjoy your family.
I swear every year I'm not going to, and then I wound up. How did I get here? But it happens.
Yes, and
actually, I kind of like it.
It's kind of fun, but I will say I think it's how extreme we've gotten with the Black Friday deals and opening at 3:00 on Thanksgiving. Take a day and enjoy your family.
Exactly. And I think most stores are starting to do that now.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a staffing issue.
Yeah. Well,
honestly.
There's that too. But
yes.
And I always dislike the fact that that Walmart or somebody or big lots or something would come up and say, we've got $5 television sets for the first 50 customers. And the line outside the door is 3 blocks long. And people are camped out there for 4 or 5 days.
Yep.
And then they open the doors and people have been hurt and some trampled.
Well, there have been fistfights over the toy of the year. Remember when Tickle Me Elmo was a thing? Oh my goodness, people fighting over that.
Well, thing? Cabbage Patch Dolls.
Yes.
When they came out, I kept reading these stories. I hadn't seen one yet, but I kept reading these stories. Women are rioting in the stores. They're fighting each other over these cabbage. And then I saw one. I said, they're rioting in the stores over this? I thought it was the ugliest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I don't think that Cabbage Patch Dolls are the cutest things, but
well, they sure were as hell popular. Yes. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yes, and really quick, Steve Stanton Sr. says Sheriff Wilcher is the benchmark that all sheriffs should measure themselves by.
Isn't that the truth?
And Mary McCann Hybrider said, yes, Sheriff Wilcher is the best. Mm-hmm. He makes quite an impression on everyone.
That's why he's always elected and reelected by a landslide.
Yes, and he is running for office in 2024.
Sure is.
So make sure you follow his campaign, support him, and make sure you go out and vote.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the chat, let us know what you guys are thankful for this Thanksgiving. One of the things that people are noticing is maybe that the turkey's maybe a little bit more this year than it was last year.
Yeah, it might be a little bit more expensive to put the meal on the table.
Well,
PragerU's looking into it.
Yes, they sent someone out on the street, and this is what people had to say about Bidenflation.
Here's what they found.
What's up, you guys? It's Aldo with PragerU. We're here in LA, and we're going to be heading to a couple grocery stores to figure out what's going on with inflation and how it might be affecting your holiday plans. Are you planning on celebrating Thanksgiving?
Of course.
Do you celebrate Thanksgiving every year?
Consecutively, yes.
A recent report came out and said that 1 in 4 families was considering not celebrating Thanksgiving this year. So inflation is the reason that a lot of people are considering not. Is that something that's been affecting you in your day-to-day life recently?
I think it affects everybody.
What kind of things are most hard for you to buy? Where are you seeing the biggest?
Is the grocery. It's day by day.
Honestly, just daily needs. Everything's a couple dollars more.
Are there any specific items or things that you've been cutting back on or buying less of because of the increased prices?
The meat, that's everything go up. Like before, you buy more items, you pay shortly, but now you need to cut it, everything, because it's very, very expensive.
Turkeys are 112% more expensive than they were last year. Flights are 43% more expensive than they were last year. What do you think when you hear those numbers?
Not a surprise, sadly. We've got lunatics running the country.
I used to Uber. I used to like some kind of travel. It's too expensive now, yeah. That is very badly for me and my family.
1 in 4 families were reconsidering having Thanksgiving dinner or cutting back on it due to the rise in grocery prices and inflation. Is that something you've considered?
For Thanksgiving dinner itself, no, not really. Figure we could all scrap the money together for dinner.
Are you seeing the increase in prices when you're going grocery shopping every week?
No, I haven't noticed a big increase. Certainly, I think it's very understandable because of the supply chain issues and the shutdown in industries. And
is inflation something that you've been dealing with in your lives?
Very much so. I lived in Argentina for many years, so I know what inflation is.
Right now, we're hovering around 8%, which is totally out of control.
It's horrific. It's all unnecessary. Gas, of course, is insane. It went down from $6.30 to $5.50. That's the big brag. But the prices on the things I like to buy at the supermarket, everything is up like 25% or something.
What do you think is the reason for the increase in gas and the increase in groceries and the overall inflation?
Manufacturers here having to, raise their prices to try to offset the costs.
I think corporations are really trying to profit on the situation.
Political unrest to war in Eastern Europe and stuff. So it's hard to put it on one specific thing, I would say.
There's a lot of things that are happening in Congress that are adding to the inflation, and I think it's definitely our government.
So you don't think it's the war in Ukraine that's causing the inflation?
Oh, no. I'm astonished there are people that actually buy that.
Well, you guys, that's a wrap. No one really seems to be sure why inflation is happening, but one thing is for sure, prices are rising and people aren't happy about it. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, share it with your friends, and if you haven't done so already, make sure you download the PragerU app so you don't miss out on more videos like this. See you guys in the next one. Well, you guys, I spent $30 on this protein bar, but worth every penny.
PragerU, I love when they do that on the street. It's very good.
They are awesome.
And our friend Chrissy Maud says she is thankful for Jesus, health, and family. And she also says turkeys are up 112% more this year. Whoa, I ordered my Thanksgiving meal, and I really think I got it cheaper than buying and cooking everything. You probably did. And Mary McCann Hybrider says, amen. Lizzie Warren says, inflation boomed when Biden took over. Correlation is causation. And Mary McCann Hybrider says, thankful for Get Real America. Thanks, Mary. We're thankful for you too. Grateful that you guys are all participate in this every day, and we love being here, right, Bill?
Indeed. Well, the killing series that Bill O'Reilly started some years back, I don't know if he expected this thing to get as big as it has, but every one of his books have been absolutely international bestsellers through the roof. I've read several of them, and they are just, it is almost like watching a movie. But all the stuff that you learn from behind the scenes and myths that we've heard over the years. He's got the new one out, Killing the Witches, about the Salem witch hunt and everything, but also about there's a segment in there about the pilgrims. And he said they weren't called pilgrims at first. These people came over here looking for religious freedom, but he said when they got on that little Mayflower, it wasn't fun and games coming over here, and they kind of got blown off course because of the bad weather. They were supposed to land in Virginia, and they wind up hitting Plymouth Rock up there in Massachusetts, and it's freezing. They said, I thought it was warmer around here. Man, we've been misinformed. But it's fascinating stuff about learning about the real Thanksgiving and how it all began, and to get the real story. And one of the things that the History Channel does is try to give us more information about that.
Yes. So in honor of Thanksgiving, we'll take a look.
Mm-hmm.
To most Americans, the Pilgrims of Plymouth, Massachusetts are the iconic inspiration for today's Thanksgiving feast. After the winter of 1620 killed almost half of their people, the colonists formed a relationship with the neighboring Wampanoag tribe, who taught them about fishing, planting, and hunting. By autumn of 1621, the colonists had collected enough food to feed the community through the coming winter. The Wampanoags joined the colonists for a 3-day feast in honor of their bounty. The feast probably did not include our modern Thanksgiving staple, turkey. More likely, the colonists and Wampanoags dined on roast goose, along with corn, codfish, and lobster. This 1621 harvest meal is now commonly thought of as the first Thanksgiving. Yet for later generations of colonists, New England days of Thanksgiving had little to do with the 1621 harvest festival. Theirs was a religious holiday, descended from Puritan days of fasting, prayer, and giving thanks to God. Every autumn, the governor of each colony would declare days of thanksgiving for bountiful harvests, victorious battles, or drought-ending rains. In 1777, the Continental Congress decreed that all 13 of America's colonies celebrate a national day of Thanksgiving that year in celebration of their victory over the British at Saratoga. By the mid-19th century, many states celebrated the holiday. However, the date could vary by weeks or even months. A determined magazine editor named Sarah Josepha Hale set about establishing a national Thanksgiving Day. She passionately believed that such a day would help unite a nation headed towards civil war. Hale began a one-woman letter-writing campaign, urging politicians to establish an annual day of Thanksgiving. Her efforts were finally rewarded by Abraham Lincoln, who saw the unifying potential of the holiday. In 1863, 4 months after the victory at Gettysburg, he declared the last Thursday of November to be Thanksgiving Day. By the 20th century, Thanksgiving was a welcome day of leisure from a 6-day work week. In the 1920s, the National Football League was formed. In an effort to boost attendance, the fledgling Detroit Lions devised the concept of a Thanksgiving Day game. Parades also became a Turkey Day tradition, and department stores quickly saw their value as a kickoff to the Christmas shopping season. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade began in 1924, and year after year, millions of New Yorkers braved the cold to watch the festivities. Most of all, Thanksgiving is about family. With modern life moving faster than ever, Thanksgiving gives us a day to take a collective breath, reconnect with loved ones, and remember just how much we have to be thankful for.
There is a lot to be thankful for. We have a lot more that unites us than divides us, and we need to put a bigger emphasis on that. Publix, by the way, has another great Thanksgiving ad. They have some of the best ads around, and they've got a great Thanksgiving Day ad out now that's really, really good.
Good. And our friend Steve Stanton Sr. says he is thank you for the cross.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I think that we need to reflect a little bit more and really be grateful for the things that do make our lives enriched, because most of us are very blessed, especially in this country. And I hope that we can find our way back to more American traditional values.
And you might have seen it at the end there. We were talking to Billy Soracek, the executive director and CEO of Ronald McDonald House of the Coastal Empire, about the pop-top lids. This is the one way you can donate, because it's not going to cost you anything extra. Save your pop-top lids. It only takes a couple of seconds to pop one off, and start putting them in a little, a little
Ziploc.
zipper-like bag. And when it gets full, take it down to Ronald McDonald House. They're there 24/7. But they've got you saw that box that's right outside. You can drop it right in there, and they make $6,000 a year here on those pop top lids, and that'll pay for several nights. And the people who stay at Ronald McDonald House can stay for nothing. They ask for some sort of token fee, some $12 or $13 or something like that. People come in and volunteer. That's one of the things that you could do as a ministry. Volunteer to cook meals, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And donations from that. So donations in kind. So they're really running a labor for you.
Yes, and it's the perfect time of year to start doing some volunteer work.
It is fantastic.
All right. we appreciate you guys being here again. We are still working to grow what we have going on, and we're trying to stay on the air. So whatever you can do to help us out, we would appreciate it.
You can make donations to us, and you can do it anonymously. We won't tell anybody that you're supporting evil conservative media.
Well, and we have 2024 coming up, and I think it's going to be pretty wild. And I think the more conservative voices we have out there, the better off we're going to be, because we are going to be fighting a lot of censorship through a lot of these big tech platforms. We, of course, are on multiple platforms, including our own app. So there are things that we're doing to try to make sure that we beat the censorship. So we hope that we can see you guys in the future, and we'll be back Monday.
Yeah.
So enjoy your holiday. Can't wait to hear all about it.
Help us out.